So welcome to our first live class in image design. We have 30 minutes, so we're going to kind of do a crash course in how to use GIMP. So we're going to look at some Utah State Standards for Digital Media 1A. We are in raster graphics, okay? So raster or bitmap graphics is what image design is. If you decide that you want to take digital arts later, that will fulfill the vector 2D graphics standard 2 down here. So we're focusing here on standard 1. All right, raster graphics. Students will define, create, manipulate, and appropriately use bitmap, pixel-based raster graphics. You're gonna define different file types, acquire image assets, and create photos or graphics with appropriate visual design and image composition techniques. Export and import images. Resize. Utilize techniques to effectively edit. Use layers, mask, selection tools. Apply filters and effects. Adjust color, create contrast, create gradient. Apply and maintain transparency or alpha channels. Restore images. Utilize color selection techniques. Use painting and drawing tools. Exporting from Photoshop for use in high definition videos. Utilize basic keystroke and shortcut keys. You ready to get started? I know it probably seems really silly that I just read through all of those standards, but we're basically going to be doing those standards throughout the entire class. So I just kind of wanted you to have a bird's eye view of what we're doing in here. Okay, so assuming you watched my welcome video and you're aware there's an orientation and you've watched this is it. This is the welcome view to the video directions. You've completed your 2 orientation tasks and you did your quiz about did you install GIMP, yes or no, or did you unzip the resources, yes or no. You've done that, right? If not, pause video and do that now. Once you have GIMP installed, you're just going to come in here and go GIMP, and or however you search up your programs. Maybe you put it on your desktop or it's down here on your menu, but just open up GIMP. Okay, so there's nothing here right now, so I'm going to have you just go File, New, and let's see, what does Create say? From Clipboard, from Web Page, a screenshot. I'm just going to go New, and you can pick a template if you want to. So I recommend like a US letter size that's 8.5 by 11. So let's just do an 8.5 by 11, and if you wanted to, you could print this out on your printer at home. Advanced options, no, we don't need any of that. So we're just going to click OK. And there it is. There's our canvas. Okay, sweet. So now that you have a canvas, we have to decide what we're going to put on it. And if you're in the live class, I think we came up with some teams with some different topics, and I'm not sure which topic you're working on, but I'm going to work on bumblebees. Okay, so I'm going to go to Creative Commons. I need to figure out where, okay, I need an internet browser, so I'm just going to open a new browser, and I need to go to Google Images. So I'm just gonna, mine automatically comes up with Google Images. If you just go to google.com, you'll notice that over here you can click on Images. So once you're there, all right, I'll just go ahead and do Bumblebee. And whoa, that's not the kind of bumblebee I was looking for. Maybe I should just put bees. Okay, so I need to find something that is fair use, meaning if I use it in this class, it's not going to be a copyright infringement because these pictures are the intellectual property of somebody else unless we have permission. So you're going to click on More. No, you're not. You're going to click on Tools. Tools. There we go. And we want usage rights. So click that drop down box. And we want to be able to reuse it and modify it in GIMP, right? So reuse with modification. That's what we're looking for. Now, non-commercial, this isn't for a business. If this was something, a product that you were creating for a client to put on their website or for their marketing materials and things like that for a business, you probably would need to click on that one. But we're not doing business in here. This is non-commercial. So labeled for non-commercial, reuse with modification. That's the one we want right there. And click on that. And now that brings me all of these lovely pictures of bees. And I can use any of them and no one's going to sue me. Isn't that awesome? So I'm going to click on the first one that I like, and I'll right click on it and I'll just copy it. Okay. And then I'm going to come back over, and I have two screens, so I'm going to slide that over so I can still see it over there. And then I'm going to go, let's see if it works, edit, and paste as a new layer. Ding. And you'll notice that I have layers over here. How cool. What? Your layers aren't showing up? That's okay. Go to the, oops, not going to be the layer menu. Nope. Go to Windows and Toolbox. Oops, nope, wrong. The Toolbox is over here. There's your Toolbox. Dockable Dialogs. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been in GIMP. Dockable Dialogs. So these areas over here are called docks. So you basically have like 4 docks. The Toolbox dock, these are, when I click on different tools, these are the tool options. This has brushes and patterns, fonts, document history. I've got my layers down here. And you can move these docks around, but I seriously do not recommend it because sometimes it just gets really wonky. So you can go to Dockable Dialogs and click on layers, and that will make it so that your layers show up. You can go to Dockable Dialogs, and if your tool options aren't showing up, you can click on tool options. If your toolbox over here on the left isn't showing up, click on toolbox. So that's just a quick little intro. So I've got this image, and you'll notice that it's bigger than my page. So if I want to move an image on my page, when you hover your cursor over these tools, actually I'm going to have to save. So everybody do this with me. The very first thing that you're going to want to do is click Save As. And you're going to need to figure out where you want your image design folder in this class. Like hopefully you've already created one when you did your resources. But if you don't have one, I put mine in my pictures folder. You could put it on your desktop. But wherever you're at, if you double click on that and you go create folder, where did that one go? Sorry, my computer has a glitch. I'm going to try it again. Okay, there it goes. Create folder, and I click on there, and I'm going to type the name of the new folder, and I'll call it Image Design. And I could just put like Block 1 2019. That works, and then hit Enter. And it automatically selected that. Now this is a breadcrumb trail, so like you can go back to your pictures folder by clicking on that and see there it is right there. So double click on that again. So I need to title this, and I'm going to title it, I'll put the date 8/20, and I'll put my first initial and my last name, R. Girot, Bees. So that's a good way to save a file with the date. That's cool. But actually, I should probably just have you putting your name because I want you to get used to having your name at the beginning of your files. You know how when you turn in a paper to your teacher in a brick and mortar school, how they make you put your name in the corner? Well, that's basically what I'm having you do. You're putting your name in the corner for me, and then you're going to put what your title of your work is, okay? So Rachel Girot Bees, that's my name. You put yours, and then you'll click Save. You'll notice there is a file extension, .xcf. That's your first file extension that you're learning in this class. .xcf is just a GIMP file, like a Word document is DOC, or a photograph is .jpg. So .xcf means that you're going to be able to open it in a GIMP program. It's not a picture though. Shows up as a picture inside the GIMP program, but not outside the GIMP program. That's probably confusing. So the next thing I want to do is show you the tools here. So when you hover your cursor over these tools, you'll notice it tells you what they are. So this is the rectangle select tool that'll allow you to I have no idea why that's malfunctioning. Okay, worked just fine when I stopped making a video. So I used that and I just clicked and dragged and I made a rectangle. So if I wanted to, I could just select that. Now this is just a selection tool. So it's just got these marching ants around it. And so my bumblebee, the area inside is selected. And if I wanted to, I could invert the selection. So you have the select menu up here where you can do different things. So like I can feather that selection, sharpen it, grow it, distort it. There's play around, have fun with these. I can also invert it. If I invert the selection, that means that the part that was on the outside of the selection is now the part that's selected, and I can see these marching ants. So I could play around with the colors of that, and I could go to colors. Let's see. Colorize down here at the bottom. It used to be up at the top. They've changed it. Colorize down here, and you'll notice that it just colorized it. I can grab this and slide it to change the hue, and it gives me kind of a little bit of a preview. So maybe I'm just going to go with something green in the background. Saturation is like the more intense the color is, the more saturated it is. Or the less intense the color is, the less saturated, the more black and white it is. So if you want to change something to black and white, just desaturate it. Take the color out. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that. Then there's also this lightness. So all of the tools in here just have things that you can fool around with and have fun with. So I think I'm going to make that like that. And then I'm going to click OK. Now, if your GIMP program starts to slow down, just go File, Save. Like, let's say your tool's not working or it's just, you know, not responding to you. Just File, Save, save constantly. If the GIMP crashes and you had some work in there, you'll be glad that you saved, right? Okay, so here we are. I've shown you how to use that selection tool. Let's go over to this one. Oh, I've got all these marching ants. Are you like, ugh, make it stop? Good. Select. Remember, anything to do with selections, none. Get rid of the marching ants. We don't want to see them. Let's say you don't want to see these lines anymore. Click on the background layer. Boom. Now the lines are around the background layer. Okay, so I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, and I hope that you're having fun with your design. I'm going to go back. Let's see. I think I'm going to pick another image. So let's go back to our search that we had done. Oh, mine's over here. And let's find something else to put in the image that's interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and close that one out. What else could I put? I think I'm going to grab this one because I actually like the color of it. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy this image and I'm going to go edit, paste as, new layer. Uh-oh. Let's see if I click hide. There it is. Look how tiny it is. Oh, if that ever happens to you, this eyeball right here makes it so that layer is visible or invisible. Notice that these layers are stacked on top of each other like a sandwich. So if this layer at the top is the bread, I can't see the meat that's in there unless I take it off, right? So if you ever bring an image over and it's super tiny like that, I just want you to hit Control-Z until it's gone. So I noticed I had to hit it twice to get rid of that. Let's go back and find an image that's not super, super tiny. Okay, and so that leads me to another option that you have here when you go into tools is you also have size. And notice I had any size selected. So I'm going to go medium because I don't want them super large either because then they take forever to paste. So I'm just going to go ahead and I want something of a different color if possible. Oh, this is a fun one. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to right click on that copy, and let's go back to the GIMP, and by now you should know edit, paste as, new layer. Oh no, I'm gonna hide that. Look at, it's still pretty small. But the other thing is I want to be able to see it. So just know that I'm not going to be able to blow that up and make it any bigger without it being pixelated and yicky. So if I'm not happy with it being that small, then I have no business using it. I'd hit Control Z, get rid of it, and go find a bigger image, okay? This image is not going to get any bigger than this without getting pixelated and looking bad. So please don't blow images up. It's okay to shrink them down, but don't blow them up. All right, so let's move the layers around so that the guy, the beekeeper, is up on top. So I'm going to select that layer, and I'm going to use this arrow, and then that's going to move my beekeeper layer up on top. Now I can see it. That's awesome, but I want to move it. Okay, well, I need to find the tool that's for moving. I'm going to click Save, because right now there's a free select, and I'll show you that. Fuzzy select, select by color, scissor select, foreground select, a paths tool, a color picker tool, which is cool. This is zoom, if you ever want to zoom in. A measure tool, move, yes, because I can't just click on that. It's not going to do anything. I have to have my move tool. So I'm going to grab my move tool, make sure my pasted layer, and I can double click on that right now, and I can call it Beekeeper, and you have to hit Enter, not Tab, Enter. Okay, and I will call this B1 and hit Enter, not Tab. If you hit Tab, it'll lose the change. So make sure that you're in the right layer. This is the thing we have to get used to, is using layers. And now I can just click and drag that, and I can move it. Oh, how fun. Oh, this is so exciting. And remember, if I don't want to be seeing that dotted line, just go to my whole background. There we go. So I can see what I'm doing. But you want to have a little bit of fun with your beekeeper. So let's click on the beekeeper layer, and I wanted to kind of show you these other tools. So I'm going to save. You've got this ellipse. So I could, if I wanted to, create an ellipse around my beekeeper, and I can just grab these corners and move them. Okay, and if I do that, let's see, if I click delete right now, it's gonna cut out my beekeeper. So I'm gonna hit Control Z to undo that. I wanna delete the corners. So I'm gonna go to select and invert the selection so that the corners are selected. Now hit delete. Oh, how fun. Now my beekeeper is oval. And I want to see it without the little lines and everything. So I'm going to go select none to get rid of the selection. And then I'm going to click on my background layer so that I can see what it actually looks like. Whoops, I kind of could have done it better, huh? Would not cut that off, but that's okay. So I'm going to click Save. So I can go and grab some more bumblebee pictures if I wanted to. Where? Oh, where? Are you back here? Okay, it was back there. Okay, so let's see. What else do I have to add? And you guys, this would be the time to start engaging your humor. I love it when students are really funny. So whatever you want to do, that could be funny, but still appropriate for school, please. Oh, there's the color I was looking for. I'm going to right click and copy that. Go back over here to my GIMP, and I'm going to edit, paste as, new layer. And if I hide these, you'll notice, boom, once again, it's small. Let me just show you what it looks like if you try to take a picture and enlarge it. It's not pretty. So I'm gonna resize this. Let's look for, so look at the pictures. The pictures kind of, save, give you tools. This is an alignment tool. This is cropping, unified transform the layers, selection, or path. This is a rotating tool. So if I wanted to rotate it, this is the scale tool. Scale it. Here we go. We're going to click on that scale tool and then click on that picture. And that's going to let us grab it Oh, look at, I can skew it though if I'm not careful. So I'm going to hit Control Z because I don't want it skewed. And I'm going to hold down the Control button. Nope, not Control. Hitting Control Z. I'm going to hold down the Shift button. There we go, Shift. Every program's different. So Shift in GIMP. Now, it's actually not looking that bad when I blow it up. So I'm feeling good about this. Let's look at what happens if I go like this and skew it. What do you think about that? I don't like it. I'm gonna hit Control Z and get that back. So I think I'm gonna grab my Move tool. Oh, I'm gonna click Scale now, sorry. I'm gonna save because it won't let me even. Oh, I have to do it again. Okay, hold down Shift. All right, I want it to be the same width as my page, and then click Scale. Okay, and then that does the trick. Now I want two of these. I want one for the top and one for the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead, and this would be a great time to use. Oh, actually, I don't need to. I think it's already selected if I'm on that layer. I'm going to hit Edit, Copy, and I'm going to go Control V. And it's going to paste a floating selection over here. And all I have to do is double click on that, and I'll just call it B Wallpaper 2 and hit Enter. And then once I've given it a name, it'll ground. So I'm going to double click on the first one and call it B Wallpaper. And there we go. So now I have two of those. So this top layer, I'm going to grab my Move tool, and I'm going to move it up so it's at the top. And then this, the first layer, I'm going to grab and move it to the bottom so that when I click Save, so that when I show these other two layers, I can see that fun bee wallpaper in the background. That's pretty cool. I'm going to click on this background really quick, and I want to show you how to make things transparent or opaque. Well, opacity is when you can't see through something. I repeat, opacity is when you can't see through something, okay? So right now, my bumblebee is opaque. I want it to be transparent so I can see a little bit of that wallpaper in the background. To do that, I'm going to click on the bumblebee layer and look at this opacity feature under layers. So I can just use my arrows and I can decrease the opacity. And as I do that, you'll notice that I can start to see the bees in the background. Now, I have to say, I'm not crazy about that at all. So I'm going back up to 100, and I'm going to grab that rectangle tool again that I had before, and I'm going to make a rectangle around the yellow part, and I'm going to invert that selection, select, invert, and I'm just going to make that part opaque. Let's see if I can do it. Nope, can't do it to just that part right there. I can do it though. How can I do it? I think in order to do that, I'd have to actually cut it. So I'm going to go Edit, Cut, and I don't know if this is going to work because I've actually never tried this before. Yes, it did cut it out. And I'm going to go Edit, Paste As, New Layer. And now that I've got that blue area, the blue feature is a new layer all by itself, and I'll just put green border as a name and hit Enter. Now I can change the opacity of just the green part. Cool, so I can see a little bit of those bees back there. That is nice. Okay, so I'm gonna hit File Save. All right, so those are some fun tools that you can use. Click on the background. Oh, I have a selection, Marching Ants, select, none. Okay, we're getting to the end of this lesson. What else is there? You also have painting tools. Well, you have shearing tools. You can play with that. you've got what other kinds of tools? There's text. You can add some text. A bucket fill tool is like, I say I want to make an ellipse, a circle over here. Ding, there's a circle, and I want to fill it with a color. Over here you have, excuse me while I save, you have a foreground and you have a background in white, and you can flip these so that white's in the foreground or black's in the background. So let's say I want to make a white oval. Whatever color's in the foreground, that's what these painting tools are going to use. Okay, so all I have to do is, if I wanted white, is click on the fill bucket and then come over here and click there. Oops. I think because of the fact that I'm on the background layer and the background layer is white, we're not able to see what I just did. So what I'm going to do is create a new layer. So I'm going to click on the beekeeper layer up here at the top, and right here is the create a new layer button, and I'll click on that and I'll just call it white oval and hit enter. And let's see if now that I'm in the white oval layer, if I try to click and fill, it works. I'm going to click save and let's see what happens. Ta-da! It worked. So remember that getting used to layers is challenging, and if you're trying to do something and nothing's happening, the first thing you want to say is, what layer do I have selected? Is it underneath all of the other layers? Should I perhaps create a new layer that's on top so we can see it? Okay, so there's an example of how to use the fill bucket. Then you also have a paintbrush. And you can click on that. You have all these different settings down here. If you click on the brush, there's all these different types of brushes you can use. For example, this star brush. So like I can literally, whoops, and notice, where am I working? I have a selection. Another great feature. If you have a selection, you can only work inside the selection. So make sure that you always remember to go select none. Okay, so I'm still on this white oval layer, and since it's on top, I'm going to go ahead and do my star painting up here, and I'm just going to show you how those little stars look. Ding. Okay, I'll hit Control Z because that's not that pretty. I can increase the size of that, so I'm going to show you what it looks like if I change the size of my brush. Ta-da! Or I can just click and let go and have stars all around. That's cute. So those are different paintbrushes that you have. Remember, if something's not working, to click save. So I'm just going to go back to a normal brush. This is a brush that has like a really sharp edge versus a brush that has like more of an airbrush effect. So try them out. They're really fun. You also have an eraser. So I can, and it's going to use the same brush that I have selected. So if I need to get a different brush, I can, but this might be cute if I click there and it erases part of the star, or right there, or I'd have to get on the B layer. Let's see. Click on the B layer. Boom. I can punch some holes in that layer. So that can be fun. I could go to my beekeeper layer. Where is he? There he is. I could do a star through my beekeeper layer. So isn't that fun? Cute. File save. So all these other tools, airbrushes, the clone tool is my favorite. Just there's two different, there's a perspective clone, but this clone tool, watch this is fun. So I click on clone, and I'm going to get a regular brush now because that's just crazy talk. When I use the clone tool, you're going to see that it's like asking, it says null, the little null symbol, because I haven't selected an area that I want to clone. But I think I'm going to clone the beekeeper. Okay, so I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to hold down the control button, and I'm going to click on the beekeeper, And now it has set a point where I'm going to clone. So now when I go to brush anywhere, watch, it's going to make a beekeeper. And let me make sure I'm on the right layer. I'll keep that on the beekeeper layer. Okay, so here I go. Whoops. I better make sure. It might be because I'm making a video that I'm not able to show you how to use the clone tool. Unfortunately, that can happen. But I'm not going to give up. Let me go over here. I am on the beekeeper layer. Let me go select none just to make sure. Nope, I don't have a selection. I should be able. Maybe it's because the beekeeper layer only has this little space that I could clone into. That could be it. So I'm going to go ahead and merge my beekeeper layer. No, I don't want to merge it. Let me just, this is tough. Let me go to the bee layer and see if it will let me clone onto the bee layer over here. And it is. Okay. So the reason why it wasn't letting me clone the little beekeeper onto the beekeeper layer is because the only canvas there is on the beekeeper layer is that little oval. All the other space around it, I can't even use that. Okay, so and notice that it's not letting me on the bee layer go outside of the bee layer, that little square. So that clone tool will make more sense if you have everything on one layer in the future. But that's kind of how you can clone. I could choose to clone a different spot on the bee layer. Like I can hold down Control and I can click on the eye. And now I can come over here and I can paint another eye onto the bee. So if you're wanting to do a project where you have like a ton of eyes, that would be a really fun way to go about that. So notice every time I paint, I get a new eye. How fun is that? Okay, so those were some basic tools. You also have a smudging tool, and smudge, you want to make sure with your opacity, just like that, if you want it to be a really solid smudge, increase your opacity. Watch this. Okay, I'm going to smudge through. I'm on the B layer, so I'm going to go ahead and just take this, and I'm smudging the paint. You see how I just did that? Woo! Okay, so Control Z, undid it, but that's smudge. If I decrease the opacity, then it's not as smudgy. It's less extreme. Just smudges a little bit. So your assignment then is to explore those tools and create the best possible design that you can make for that topic that you and your team chose. So make sure that you have your background selected so that you don't have any funny lines, or make sure you've done select none if that's an issue. And then you can make a copy of this whole entire thing. So let's see, edit, copy visible, okay? And then come over to your team's Google Doc and paste it. And first, actually put your first initial and your last name and paste it. Control V. It doesn't want to paste. All right. I guess I am going to have to teach you how to export today. So go File, Save, and save everything that you've got. Okay. And now you're going to export it. So export as, okay, and you're going to type JPEG. Okay. So did you see what I just did? That did say XCF. but we don't want an XCF file because we need to be able to use it on our Google Doc and see it. So we need to type in .jpg at the end. If that is scary to you to type that in yourself, then just go down to the bottom here where it had the select file type and click on that and scroll down until you get to J and click JPEG image and then click export. You're going to get this little box. Click show preview. Okay, it's showing a preview back here. If you click that, you're going to lose that little box. So then I'll go cancel. Well, actually cancel's not working. So I just clicked on my little thing down here and I can click and get that little box back. But it says it's 1.9 megabytes. That's too big. So I need to decrease my quality until I'm at about 500 kilobytes. You could even go smaller than 500 kilobytes. Let's go 500 kilobytes. That's good enough. And I'm going to click export. Okay, so now that it's exported, I can actually use it. So on my Google Doc, where are you, my Google Doc? Let's see, I want to insert an image. So I'm going to upload from my computer. I got to find my image design folder. Okay, and there it is, Rachel Girot bees. Boom. And I'm going to open that. And there it is. That's how big it is at 500 kilobytes. So I obviously could have gone a lot smaller. I could have gone probably like 200. Okay, but that's good. So there's my design for bees. If I were on team 1, there'd be my design. So you're just gonna, your team, your goal is to make the best designs possible for your topic, okay? All right, and then in our next class, we'll take a look at those.